I still remember the first time I drove through Tennessee's back roads, far away from any highway, and stumbled upon towns that time seemed to have forgotten. At first, I thought I was imagining it, empty streets, broken windows, and silence so deep it almost hurt. These weren't just abandoned buildings, they were the ghosts of real lives, homes where families once laughed, cried, and dreamed. Standing there, I felt a mix of awe and sorrow, realizing entire communities had vanished, yet left behind traces of their stories. Join me as we uncover 5 of Tennessee's most abandoned towns that still exist, hiding secrets in plain sight. If you want to uncover more hidden stories like these, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our journey into the forgotten and mysterious places. 1 Butler, Johnson County. I still remember the quiet feeling I got when I stood near Watauga Lake, looking out over the calm water. At first, it looked peaceful, almost beautiful. But the more I stared at it, the heavier my chest felt. This water was not always here. Beneath it once stood a real town called Butler, Tennessee, where families lived normal lives, never thinking their home would disappear forever. As I walked along the shoreline, I tried to imagine Butler as it once was. In the early 1900s, it was a small but active mountain town. People worked in logging, farming, and local trade. Children walked to school. Neighbors knew each other by name. Life was simple, but it was real and full. Butler wasn't rich, but it was home. Everything changed in the 1940s when the Tennessee Valley Authority announced the Watauga Dam project. The plan was to control flooding and produce electricity, but the cost was high. Butler was in the way. I read old records and personal letters before coming here, and one thing was clear, the people had no real choice. They were told their town would be flooded, and they had to leave. Standing there, I could almost feel the pain of that moment. Imagine being told to pack up your entire life because water would soon cover your streets, your church, and even your cemetery. Families moved their loved ones' graves. Homes were torn down or left behind. By 1948, Butler officially vanished under rising water, becoming part of Watauga Lake. The wind brushed across the lake, and I felt a strange silence, like the place was holding its breath. Sometimes, when water levels drop, parts of old foundations appear. Locals say you can still find traces if you know where to look. That thought stayed with me, the town isn't truly gone, it's just hidden. Butler didn't fade because people stopped caring. It was sacrificed for progress. And as I turned away from the lake, I realized something unsettling. This wasn't just history. It was proof that entire communities can disappear, leaving only memories beneath the water, waiting for someone to remember they ever existed. 2 Reliance, Polk County. I had been driving through the winding roads of Polk County, Tennessee, for hours when I first stumbled upon Reliance. At first, it looked like any quiet town in the mountains, with a few old buildings and empty streets. But there was something about it that made me stop the car. The air felt different here, heavier, as if the town itself carried the weight of all the stories it once held. Walking down the main street, I could almost picture what Reliance used to be. Decades ago, it was a thriving river town, a place where people relied on the river for trade, transport, and life itself. I imagined the sound of steamboats docking, children running along the docks, and merchants shouting prices from their shops. It felt alive, but that life had long disappeared. Most of the buildings were empty, windows dusty and cracked, paint peeling off walls that had once been cared for with pride. As I moved closer to the old dock area, I felt a chill. It wasn't just the wind, it was the eerie silence of a town abandoned by time. I read that the town's decline began when the railroad and highway systems bypassed it. Suddenly, Reliance was no longer a hub, no longer a place where travelers stopped. Businesses closed one by one, families left in search of better opportunities, and what remained was nothing but echoes. Standing there, I could almost hear faint whispers of the past, as if the town itself was mourning its own loss. I paused by one of the old houses, its door hanging loosely on its hinges. I could almost picture the family who lived there, laughing in the kitchen, kids playing in the yard. And then I realized, these ruins weren't just wood and brick, they were memories frozen in time. The river that once gave life to the town now reflected the sky, calm and indifferent, as if it had claimed the town entirely. Leaving Reliance, I felt a strange mix of awe and sorrow. This place had stories that no tourist brochure could tell, histories that were written in the faces of its empty buildings and cracked sidewalks. I promised myself I would remember it, not just as a forgotten town, but as a real place where real people once lived, laughed, and dreamed. And somehow, standing there, I felt a connection that made me believe that even abandoned, Reliance still had a soul. 3 Caledonia, McNairy County. I remember the first time I drove into no business, tucked away in the rugged hills of the Big South Fork area, Tennessee. The name itself made me pause, almost laugh quietly to myself, but as I looked around, I realized the joke wasn't funny. The town lived up to its name in a haunting way. The roads were cracked and overgrown, and the few houses that still stood seemed frozen in time, like witnesses to a story that no one was telling anymore. As I walked down the main stretch, I tried to imagine the town when it was alive. Families who worked hard in farming, logging, or small local shops. Kids running barefoot in the summer heat, waving at neighbors, dogs barking, and the smell of wood smoke filling the air. But that life had long vanished. All that remained were empty homes, a silent church, and the faint outline of what might have been a schoolyard. The wind whispered through the trees, and it almost felt like the town was speaking to me, trying to tell me its story. The decline of no business was gradual. I read some old accounts from locals, the railroads bypassed the town, jobs disappeared, and families slowly moved away. It wasn't one dramatic moment, it was a slow erasure, each generation leaving a little more of their history behind. Standing there, I felt a strange connection to the people who once called this place home. I could almost see an old man sitting on his porch, looking out over the hills, wondering why everyone was leaving. What struck me the most was the silence. It wasn't peaceful, it was heavy. Every broken window and rusted fence seemed to hold a memory, a fragment of lives once lived. I ran my hand over the rough wood of an old building and imagined the laughter and tears that had passed through these walls. Even the trees seemed to lean in, listening to the echoes of the past. Leaving no business that day, I carried with me a sense of reverence. This wasn't just an abandoned town, it was a monument to resilience, a reminder of how places, no matter how small, shape lives. The name might seem funny to outsiders, but here, it meant everything, the story of survival, change, and the ghosts of dreams left behind. For Nameless, Jackson County. I had heard stories about a place called Nameless in Jackson County, Tennessee, but nothing could have prepared me for the feeling when I actually arrived. Driving along a narrow dirt road, surrounded by thick forests, I felt like I was entering another world. The further I went, the quieter it became, and soon even the sound of my own footsteps seemed loud. There were no street signs, no bustling shops, nothing to signal life. It was just the land, the trees, and the empty remains of a town that time had almost forgotten. Walking past a cluster of old wooden houses, I tried to imagine who had lived here. Families who woke up to the sun rising over the hills, children running through the fields, neighbors greeting each other on the porch. I could picture the laughter, the small arguments, the smells of fresh bread baking in the kitchen. It was surreal to realize that this all existed once, in a town that today feels swallowed by the woods. Nameless never had the opportunity to grow. Its isolation meant that when young people left for better jobs and schools, few returned. I found myself standing in front of what used to be the town's small general store. The door was hanging on one hinge, windows cracked, and the shelves inside were empty, but I could almost see the old shopkeeper arranging goods, chatting with the locals. Each building told its own story if you stopped to look carefully: walls with peeling paint, a rusted swing set in a backyard, a stone foundation hinting at a home long gone. As I walked deeper, a gust of wind stirred the leaves and I felt a shiver. It wasn't just the cold, it was the weight of memories embedded in this place. People had lived here, loved here, and left behind traces of their lives. There was something hauntingly beautiful about how the town had surrendered to nature without a fight, letting the forests reclaim streets and yards, but still keeping its soul intact. Leaving Nameless that day, I felt humbled. It reminded me that not all towns vanish because of disaster or flood, some simply fade slowly, leaving behind echoes that only those who take the time to listen can hear. It was quiet, it was empty, but it was real, and I carried a piece of it with me long after I drove away. 5 Mousetail Landing Area, Perry County. I had been exploring the Buffalo River area in Perry County, Tennessee, for hours when I stumbled upon the remains of Mousetail Landing. At first glance, it seemed like nothing more than a quiet riverside, trees dipping their branches into the water. But as I stepped closer, I realized there was a story hidden here, one that had been waiting for decades to be remembered. The ground beneath my feet was soft with moss, and I could see fragments of old wooden piers peeking out from the riverbank, like fingers reaching for the past. I tried to imagine the town as it once was. Mousetail Landing had been a small river community, full of life and purpose. Boats would come and go, carrying goods and people up and down the river. Families would gather near the docks, children laughing as they skipped stones into the water, the smell of fresh bread and smoke from nearby chimneys drifting through the air. Life was simple, but it was full, and the river connected everyone to the wider world. Walking along the abandoned shoreline, I noticed broken fences, the foundations of houses, and a small cemetery overgrown with weeds. It hit me how fragile life can be, how entire communities can slip away quietly over time. Mousetail Landing didn't vanish in a single event, it faded slowly as younger generations left for jobs and opportunities in the cities, leaving behind the homes and memories of those who stayed. Each structure told a story of resilience, struggle, and eventual surrender to nature. I could feel the history pressing in around me, the quiet rustle of leaves, the occasional bird call, and the river's gentle flow. It was almost as if the town itself was breathing, alive in memory though abandoned in reality. I ran my fingers along a weathered piece of wood from a dock, imagining the hands that had once held it, the footsteps that had crossed it countless times. There was an odd comfort in knowing that while Mousetail Landing was no longer inhabited, its essence remained, waiting for someone to listen. Leaving the riverbank that day, I felt a strange mix of melancholy and awe. Mousetail Landing had become more than just a forgotten place, it was a testament to the lives that had been lived, the dreams that had once thrived, and the quiet inevitability of change. Even in abandonment, it had a story, and for anyone willing to pause and observe, it still had a heartbeat.